Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to Team APS. I'm Paul, and today we're going to talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules that I actually think you should break. Now, a quick disclaimer, this isn't rules like in-game. I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not saying, stack your opponent or try to roll shark them. That's not really what I'm focusing on. I'm talking more so rules about, conventional wisdom in Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of rules of thumb that people will tell you a lot and you'll hear a lot, but that sometimes it's okay to break if it means, becoming a better player or just having a little more fun with the game, or maybe even helping somebody else out. So yeah, that's not, we're not, just to get that out of the way, we're not talking about cheating. Now, before I get started, I do want to make a few quick channel announcements. So first things first, shout outs to the Team APS channel members. That's the new YouTube feature. It's the join button right beneath the video. For a small monthly payment, you're basically supporting Team APS, investing in our ability to make better content. I use it for getting new camera gear, to help fund us going to more events. For example, YCS Dallas is an event that I really want to go to. And so right now we have 18 channel members. Hopefully we can reach 20 soon. You guys are the MVPs. You really are appreciated. And there are some perks that come along with it too. So definitely check it out. Also, I'm giving away this Yu-Gi-Oh! 2019 World Championship playmat. So as you guys know, I went to this event last weekend and it was a lot of fun. Konami invited a bunch of people out. Good times. I got an extra mat. So if you want to win this, all you have to do is leave a comment on this video and every single video that I upload this week. So I'm going to be uploading a video from Monday through Friday, and all you have to do is leave a comment on each one. The only stipulation with that is it does have to be a meaningful comment. So, you can't just say, I want to win the mat. You have to, just a comment about what I'm talking about in the vid. At the end of the week, I'm going to check through all the comments, see who left one, and then I'll just pick a winner. So anyway, on to the video itself. Rules that you should break in Yu-Gi-Oh! The first one is you always have to be optimal. I don't think that this is necessarily true, especially when you're experimenting with different decks. So you'll hear things like you have to run 40 cards, or you have to run this card in this ratio, it's the only way to play it, or you have to run, this deck with this engine. And if you don't, you're bad, it's not worth playing the deck, you might as well not even bother. I don't think that stuff is true, and I think that stuff can actually be, really defeat the idea of just Yu-Gi-Oh! Being your own game. At the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be playing this deck, and you are the one who knows what you're most comfortable with. A lot of people build decks in different ways. Some people will run 2 copies of a card that others run 3 of. Maybe they'll run 2 copies of a card that other people run 1 of. And it could be for any number of reasons. Oh, I'm tired of seeing this always show up in my opening hands when I run it at 3, so I want to run it at 2. Or when I run this card at 1, it doesn't show up enough. Or my opponent always manages to banish it and then I'm out of copies or something like that. And I want to have an extra copy for, late game, or if the game gets grindy or whatever, I want to have more copies of this. That type of thing. When you see winning deck lists, yes, it's easy to take a look at those lists in a vacuum and be like, well, this guy got first place with this deck, so that must mean it's the best way to play the deck, and he just, that's how it is. The thing is, when people win these events, they, this takes practice and preparation and experimentation and playtesting. Nobody just knew the perfect deck list the day they woke up. It came as a result of, trying out different things, trying out different ratios, different engines, things like that. Playing something suboptimal, especially when the stakes are low, isn't a bad thing. Like when you're playing in local tournaments, that's a great time to try out different decks, or even if you're playing a traditionally meta deck, you can try to play it in a different way. And that's how you learn things. If it doesn't go well, then you'll know, well, okay, this isn't how I need to be running it. And you can always fall back on an established meta build. I've said for a long time, there's nothing wrong with net decking either. Like if you take the best build and run it, that's a-okay. The main thing is though, you just don't want to discount the possibility of trying out other things. And this applies again to the 40 card thing. Trell and I made a video recently where we talked about some of the reasons why you might want to try out running more than 40 cards. You'll hear people say, okay, 40 or bust, it's how you see your best cards, don't run a single card more. But we've seen plenty of decks that, win or top YCS events, UDS events, regionals, all that stuff, that run 41 cards, 42 cards. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! In the last few years has had a rise in the number of 50 card decks, 60 card decks. A recent example is the Pendulum deck, for instance. And so, when you see these decks that have more than 40 cards, it is a good example of, yes, you can play decks in different ways. Now, I'm not saying that's always the best answer, and there are plenty of times when 40 is, the right amount to run and you probably shouldn't go over it, but you won't know until you try. Now, if you want more info on that, again, check out the video that Tron and I did. I'll have a link to it. But yeah, that's the idea. Run the deck kind of how you want to run it. And even if you end up eventually going back to a more just traditional, tight, established cookie cutter build, that's fine as long as you know why you're doing it, as long as you tried the other things and, all that. And I guess one last addendum to this is if you're just playing for fun, then there's really no reason to worry about, established meta builds. Like, sometimes it's just a preference thing. Sometimes you just want to run a deck the way you run it on a deck, and it's not the end of the world if it's not the best version of said deck. So yeah. Okay, next rule that I think people should break sometimes is this kind of rule that you have to get market value for every single card that you trade or sell. So, as we all know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of seen as this market, right? People see it as like, these cards have value, prices fluctuate, you gotta invest, you gotta know, you gotta buy, you gotta sell, like buy low, sell high, get rid of cards for the hype and all that stuff. And card prices do change. And I'm definitely not condoning, like just giving away your cards and stuff like that for nothing. But don't be the stickler. Don't be the guy who's got like a card that's worth, let's say, $16.37. And then when you're trading with somebody, you're looking in their binder for a card that exactly equals $16.37. Kind of an extreme example, but the truth is I've met people like that multiple times, and it's never a fun trading experience. Calvin actually made a video recently on the channel about trading tips and why this in particular can be a really bad thing to do for a number of reasons. Check out his video. It's got a lot more detailed information than I could provide here, but basically, if you're that type of player, people are gonna remember that. If you're the guy where, it's petty, it's extra, you have to sit around for like, 10, 15 minutes on what should be a really simple trade, they just aren't gonna wanna trade with you again. And then that means that you're not gonna be able to get trades, you're not gonna be able to finish decks. If you're trying to build a deck especially, just do the trade. If what you have is worth 13 bucks and what they have is worth 12 bucks, screw it. Just trade the cards, get the trade over with, get what you need. People will remember that. They'll give you deals in the future. I think it's an ideology that kind of comes from, and I can sympathize a lot with this. When people first get into Yu-Gi-Oh, sometimes they'll get scammed, right? It happens at a lot of card shops, especially if you're a younger player, a newer player, you don't know the values of your cards. You'll go to a card shop and get scammed. It has happened to me, so trust me, I know. And you'll pull like a $60 card or something, and older players at your shop or something will like scam you out of it and like trade you a blue eyes, right? Some common blue eyes for it, and you get ripped off, and then later you find out you got ripped off, and you tell yourself, okay, I'm never letting this happen again. I'm always going to trade my cards for exactly what they're worth, never a penny less. You gotta kind of like grow past that. Bad things happen, sure. I'm not telling you to trade your Phantasme for a cap shell. I'm not telling you, to trade or sell, any $80 card for nothing. What I am saying though is that when cards are in like comparable value ranges, it's easier to just do the trade and get it over with. It makes both sides happier. People remember it. You'll be better off. And it just kind of helps the game get moving, right? People are getting cards, people are building decks, they are able to play, you're not holding things up, you're not hoarding, that kind of thing. So yeah, okay. The third rule that I think you should break every now and again is going all out. So in a duel, I mean. So basically, if you're in a tournament, I 100% support, play to win. Play the best deck, do the crazy combos, like beat your opponent, beat their face in, right? Like do what you have to do to win. It is a tournament. If you paid to be there, if you travel to be there, the goal is to win. The goal is, not to, give your opponent an easy time. You are trying to win the tournament. So yes, always go for a win. However, in practice, in friendlies, and maybe depending at locals, it's not such a bad thing to kind of like take it easy on people. Now, not everybody, of course, but with younger players and newer players, I think that there is some value in holding back every now and again. Yes, we know that your Crusadia, Thunder, Danger, Guard Dragon deck can put up, 5 huge monsters that can all negate things. That's great. We've seen it before, we know. Do it if you're trying to win a tournament, sure. But if you're like playing a random friendly game against the kid who just showed up at the shop, you're not impressing anybody. That's, that type of thing, it's fun, and all of that, but that's the type of stuff that can really drive people away from Yu-Gi-Oh! When the very first experience they had was somebody who just summoned a bunch of huge monsters and like, that's it. You know, they couldn't play any of their cards, everything got negated, and they just lost on their very second turn or whatever. Now, you know, I get it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like that. Like, it's not a side of Yu-Gi-Oh! That people can just run away from. However, if it's a new player or a kid, they will eventually learn that. But I think early on, it's more important to keep people coming back to their card shop at all. Later on, yes, they'll learn that there are lots of, you know, really powerful decks that can make really strong boards, and that you have to kind of be able to bait things, play around things, learn the nuances. But starting off, you don't want to scare someone away with that. And so for that reason, I think that you should, you know, consider holding back every now and again against new players, against younger players, that sort of deal. That's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, of course, and be sure to subscribe for new Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. I'm going to be doing new videos Monday through Friday. It's a new schedule that I'm hoping I can maintain forever, hopefully, indefinitely. We'll see how long that goes. And of course, reminder, if you want to win a copy of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2019 playmat, you have to leave a comment on this video and every single video this week with your thoughts on the given topic. So here, for instance, what are other Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules that you think should be broken every now and again? Alright, I've gone on long enough. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.